Hello and welcome back to Sunless Sunday, where we sail the Sunless Sea with me, Bardon, and Lady Sakura. Right, we are going to leave the Mangrove College, and where are we going next? I guess we're going to the Isle of Cats, and then to Rosegate, Visage, and then up that way, right? Yeah. Going to deal with you as well while we're here. Two supplies and one fuel. And what else? Some sort of barrel. Okay. Cask of mushroom wine. Perfect. Because we need that for later. In the flaring light, it's Zee-Dark, but the taste is the darkness of autumn. Mushroom wine, an acquired taste perhaps, but once you've acquired it, who'd go back to grapes? Nasty little bubbles of goo grapes. Okay. Let's turn ourselves around. We're going over this way. Just accumulate little bits of damage each fight, but it does all add up over time. Luminescent beasts like eyeless dolphins play in your wake. We've got no further to go than I thought. False stars above are feral, amber, like tiger's eyes. Stamford's expanse, named for the one who lost his child to cats. Blue lights crawl leisurely up the funnel. St. Erasmus dancing, the cry goes up. Get a port aboard. Though the Isle seems at present beyond the reach of the Admiralty's laws, that does not mean the Admiralty lacks interest in their activities. Roses and Kings. We spend half a day observing the docks and note an astonishing number and variety of ships. Was that a Cannae trimaran nestled beside a vessel from the Iron Republic? The dockhands complaining loudly that they have never been busier. The caddies talk ceaselessly and carelessly about smuggling and piracy, but even the most hardened sailor lower their voices when they mention the King. They go even quieter when they talk about the Rose Garden. You make careful notes. Perhaps the Admiralty will understand what they mean, even if you don't. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do... To buy ship, we don't need to buy ship in the Red Hornet really. We don't have any sunlight to sell. We don't want to really walk in the garden either. So let's just leave here and head towards Rosegate. I think is a better idea. Oh, something else wants to tangle with us now. Oh, it's you, okay. Well, we're going to be dealt with swiftly. Actually missed that one. There we go. We're sorted. Crippled, broken, already feeding disease, endless hunger. Little remains of the ship but scraps of sinking cargo and a few buoyant parts of a splintered carcass. Investigate the wreckage. The pirate poet made this class popular with corsairs and smugglers. A pity so little remains to plunder. A fishing expedition. The crew manages to scoop up a few crates before the sinking ship loses its struggle with inevitability. What's this? So we have 2 supplies, 2 fuel, and dark drop coffee. We could run the boilers on this stuff, your second engineer remarks. Even we run out of coke. He sees your expression and hastens to add, we couldn't. Please, don't put the coffee in the firebox, Captain. It'd be a shocking waste. Okay, and we won't do that, so don't worry. Now we are going to get ourselves below, so we can get the Rosegate. And we pop. Rosegate is not so much a port as a shop with a dock. Coloured ceiling lights shine onto display cases lining the walls. A large shop counter dominates the room. Cigars, ashtrays, guillotines, matches, and carved boxes are all for sale. Each step here transports you into a new realm. At one moment, the heady aroma of summer flowers, then the earthy fug of fungus, the bitter warmth of morning coffee, the sickening sweetness of sweat and midnight honey. Okay, let's take a pamphlet. Neatly printed histories of the shop are stacked high on one of the display cases. A notice encourages visitors to take one. Self-published plaudits. The pamphlet describes Rosegate as a cigar shop with a factory on the upper floor. True. Here they produce and sell an unparalleled variety of cigars. Also true. The tobacconist is described as a world-renowned figure, respected for his dedication to his craft and the brilliance of his creative vision. The pamphlet boasts that his genius will forever alter the tobacconist's art. Well, that remains to be proven. Okay, then the crotchety tobacconist has a dream to create a cigar that can be smoked underwater, and with your help, it might come true. Bitter, luscious, robust, these flavours, and we'll have the cigar. We've only got one ambiguous here like firm. Delicate workshop tools won't do for a flavour like this, the crotchety tobacconist says. I need to make some new ones. Can you bring me some particularly sturdy materials? So we have to get another one of those. Okay. Well, maybe at some point, but it's not looking good for you at the moment, I have to say. We're not going to deliver supplies or buy, or take a, pretty much going to leave, I think. We'll get on with what we need to get on with. Get ourselves back to the surface before some giant spider comes along and scares the absolute crap out of us. Right, so next we are heading to Visage. Just want to keep on top of our terror. Can. Okay, pop in there. Let's get a port. You can at least interview those who are leaving. That will have to do. A departing merchant gives you a confused account of crocodiles and honeycakes, something about ear blockage. To this you add your own impressions about the street layouts close to the port and the types of commerce here. When the lights are especially bright, it is possible to make out the details of the profile of the great stone face. Okay, and then let's go ashore, inwards and upwards. Terms. All those who enter must play their part. The sign of parts, actually. The sign is visible only after you cross the threshold. Check in at the custom house. Let's do that. And now we are going to be... We're going to be the locust. It looks voracious. Moonmoth settles the locust mask on your head. The eye holes are covered with a thin gold film, through which valuable objects gleam more brightly. May you find a happy harvest, says Moonmoth. Then, when you're partly turned away, it double knots the ties on its purse, as though you're likely to pick its pocket. Doesn't it know you can see it? Okay, let's go to the flood court. The Moonmoth speaks as though you should already know what that is. High water. The flood court is a long stone room with 2 ranks of columns on each side. Currently, the court is ankle deep in water, though water stains on stone show that the flood has often reached higher, sometimes up to the height of your waist. At a raised niche at the far end of the room sits a statue of a man with the head of a ram. He holds a jar from which water flows out onto the floor. Okay, let's gather coins from the flood court floor. Gotcha. You wade into the water and begin gathering coins. Perhaps people watch you from behind their masks, but no one tries to stop it. After a moment, the other locust masks in the room swarm with 4 and 5 and 6 of you together, scraping up the coins from the bottom of the pool. Working your way along until everything is gone is just how a locust ought to behave. Okay, we gain 1 visage expertise, and then 10 fragments. Okay, that's good. And then I think we are, we're going to leave. Enter performance and leave the island. Or actually no, let's trade with Moonmoth again. It has been making subtle overtures for some time. You only now understand them. He's keen to go. It draws you aside into a closet in the customs house. Had enough of visage, it tells you frankly. Here, you take my mask and pretend to be me, and I'll trade in the visitor mask and get on some departing ship. Get my life back. Its face, no, now you see her face, is aging, but unlined. A lifetime of never needing to use a facial expression. Okay, let's go to the side of the face. The stone cheek of flourishing years is visited as a pilgrimage by the inhabitants of the village, and if you are in good favour, you may go too. At the proper time, you must of course wait until your work with this day's crop of frogs and locusts is complete. It would not be suitable to bring them along. Offer instructions to the frog that found its way up here. Opening outside, the buildings become scarcer, and then vanish entirely, leaving you looking at the bottom of a great chin. That's the sort of thing your moth would have done to you. Okay, chance to challenge. Yeah, let's do that. Creditable on both sides. You tell the frog a particular partially true story about how this face was carved. The frog replies in amplified belch, a story it heard about the sphinxes known as the salt lines. It's really a very good frog. Okay, then let's try side of the face again. It's still at the proper time. We can't now push the parts off at all. Yeah, let's silently observe the attitude of the visiting line. Is paying obedience to the face. Service and worship. You contemplate the line for some time. There is an arithmetic sequence to the count of bows that it performs in each feature. The eyes, the nose, each lip. It's hard to know whether line is meant to be her worshipper or her lover. Perhaps the two functions are not very distinct. When at last the line's bows are complete, it passes you with a slight snap of its masked jaw. It was rude of you to stand here watching. The moth watches visitors. It does not watch citizens. To do so has violated the strictures of both of your roles. Okay. Let's visit the house of the chief geometer. It is understood to be an honour. Lines in wet ground. Each morning the man in the cobra mask draws lines in the mud, flat with a pointed steel rod. This apportions to each inhabitant a small trapezoidal area from which to harvest mushrooms and to scrape salt. No plot is ever preserved from one day to the next. This man is the chief geometer, the keeper of directions, master of land measures and sea measures. Bring a poem concerning snakes copied on a new scroll, 800 lines on a scaly denizen of the snake pit. Yeah, let's do that. Mixed results. He appears to be pleased by the gift, but it takes him aback as well. Several times he remarks that this sort of merchandise is something he would expect to be brought to the island by a bat. It requires a great deal of chittering and wing folding to persuade him of your moth nature. Okay, and then on the lower slopes, some buildings, flat roofs, archways. In the architecture there lingers a memory of lotus and palm frond. The hill above is a face, forever looking up, the ceiling of the Untersee. No one inhabits its cheeks, or the hollows of its eyes. Enter performance and leave the island. You can't stay in character forever. Calmer. When the other citizens are distracted, you find your way to the familiar customs house and rid yourself of mask and robe. There's satisfaction in laying aside a role well performed. We lost a terror, we're now serene. Beautiful. Okay, and that is where we are going to end that one. So hope you have enjoyed. Hope you're keeping safe out there, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button there on the right, or checking out some other videos here on the left, or perhaps you might even share with some friends.